Am I the only one that hates the international break? Like, it always happens when your team just starts getting a bit of momentum. You start to see things click, changes. And, there's always new transfers and exciting players that have just joined your team. But then what seems to happen is international break, kill all momentum. And then, players come back injured. And, our players are already injured. What I wanted to do, just to keep this channel going and, keep discussions flowing and stuff like that, is just talk about our title chances this season. After the past 3 seasons under Arteta, we've come second. Netflix FC, the Bridesmaids, all of those little names that we get called and get bantered. We even get bantered by Tottenham fans now because they won their little Europa League, even though we weren't in it, but it is what it is. They've got some silverware. But, this season we need to win something. And one title I want to win is the Premier League title. It's a title my first ever trophy I've seen Arsenal lift. I saw them win the FA Cup before that, but I didn't really care about football. I was too young. But the first trophy I seen Arsenal lift was their Barclays FA Premiership. And that needs to come back into our trophy cabinet and, bring glory back, because we are a legendary club. And slowly, all these new fans are trying to treat us differently. But I digress. Anyway, I want us to talk about squad depth. And, this is a big factor into why we used to always lose out and drop off in seasons before. I'm thinking back to Saliba's injury a few years ago when Rob Holding came in. I'm thinking back to Saka and Odegaard last season when the attack and the fluidity of the attack just sort of died out. And it just went into the sort of defensive shape. Struggling, just struggling to create and attack and do anything. And even though 3 of those names I've just mentioned are injured right now, actually, but they will be back. Luckily, it's an injury at the beginning of the season, and, we can move on back with them back in the team. So, when Saka's fit and he's firing, he's still there driving the attack. We've got Odegaard to control the tempo. Saliba and Gabriel form arguably the best centre-back pairing in Europe. Argue with who you want to about Van Dijk and Konate, but, Van Dijk's getting old, and, Konate, he's looking like he doesn't even want to be there anymore. He ain't signing that contract. Anyway, and Rice, there was question marks about his actual position here at Arsenal. Arteta wanted to play him as the 8. He's more suited to the 6 role, but we've got some players that can definitely complement them. And starting with Rice, I didn't actually finish that point. We've brought Martin Zubimendi. At first was looking at, I think, Andre Onana. But anyway, we've secured Martin Zubimendi, who is the better choice in midfield. A deep line playmaker who can allow, Declan Rice to bomb forward, gives him more freedom to, do what he wants in the 8 position, because that's what Arteta wants him to be. Martin Zubimendi, since he's come in, he's been one of those players that's gone under the radar. No one's had anything bad to say about him because he just does his job and does it quite well. And Arsenal have been looking for a player like that in a long time. What we tend to have, especially in midfield, is a player that, shines one week, drops off for 2 games, shines another, it's always inconsistent. Or a player that's injured, gets a run of games, injured again. But Zubimendi seems very solid, and I'm quite happy that we got to sign him over other teams because he was well sought after. Out wide, over the summer, there was talks of Rodrigo coming in. A lot of the fans were screaming for a world-class, Champions League winning, La Liga multiple title winning player to come in from one of the best teams in the world. But Rodrigo, he didn't want to leave Madrid. It seems like he just wants to stay there and, be the water boy. He's happy to just stay there and just hand out the bottles and cheer on the team, get his little chance. Maybe Xabi Alonso's trying to feed the fire in his gut and, give him a bit of fire for him to fight for his place again. But I don't see how he's getting in the team over Vinicius or Mbappe or, Vinicius or Mbappe. He doesn't want to play on the right wing. I can't really remember off the top of my head who's playing on the right wing at the moment. But, instead, we've decided to go for Eberici Eze. He brings flair, ball carrying abilities, a very creative spark, and he just, he makes football fun to watch for me. I've been watching this player since the end of his the end of his time at QPR, and then when he went to Palace, I used to compare him to Saka, and I was always told that he's not, they're not the same position, they're 2 different players. But now Arteta's brought him he's brought him in to play on the left wing. So I guess now he is a winger. Do you know what I mean? And with the way that Martinelli's playing right now, I think we really need a change in the way we look to attack these teams. And I think with Eze's creativity and the way he keeps the ball and gets past defenders and breaks lines, I think it's just a great acquisition. I actually prefer Eze over Rodrigo, for those who are asking. Over the summer as well, we saw big talk of Sesko, a big split and divide over which which forwards we should get for the summer. I mean, we were linked to Sesko. The fans really wanted us to get Isak, but Isak never wanted to come to Arsenal. And we decided to go for, the best goal-scoring striker in Europe in Victor Gyökeres. Now, since Andrea Berta came in, the first link we had was Victor Gyökeres, and I thought, it's a bit different. I mean, Arteta wanted Sesko, and like I said just now, that, it caused a bit of a rift in the fan base, all the Arteta heads, all the Arteta lovers, they were going with Sesko, but I just didn't like the sound of Sesko. He reminds me a bit of Havertz. It's not really much of a change. I mean, we've had Havertz playing there for how long? And I mean, great, but we got to a point when trying to break that line, trying to play this possession-based football, when teams sit in deep, that's it. We're just passing the ball around in a horseshoe and we're stuck there. I mean, Havertz is still a great player to have, even though he's injured at the moment. And also Marino was good in that sort of system. But what Victor Gyökeres brings is something very different. He's awkward. He's very unpredictable in the way he dribbles. He's a bit clunky. He's powerful, direct. And, it's finally a proper plan B, to someone to rotate with. So if we do decide we want to do the possessive thing, we can bring Havertz and we can have Marino up there. If it's counter-attacking, sitting in deep, looking to blitz teams, Victor Gyökeres, man. And I think he's got more to his game than just running in behind. And, I think there's more to his game. And, it's just for us to unlock that and to see, as Arsenal fans, as, the coach and everybody works with him. So, on top of that, Timber's back from injury. End of last season, he had a surgery for an ongoing problem. Ben White's floating about. He's back as well. And we've got young talent like Ethan Nwaneri to step in as well. He's been knocking on the door. Push Odegaard, Mars Lewis-Skelly, another young player. Calafiori's fit as well. And I mean, we've got almost 2 to 3 men in every position. So there's no reason why we can't challenge on all fronts and try and win something big. Not just the Carabao Cup, because we should be doing that anyway, but it's just something we've never done. I want the Premier League, and this is the time to do it. With these new signings now, I feel like the types of players we've bought this season, it really gives us another dynamic in the way we're going to attack, and another way to defeat these teams and be variable. That's the word. We can hopefully change it up in mid-game, depending on game state and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at. I think this season I can see us, using our possession-based football to try and dominate and suffocate teams. But if it's not working, we switch it up. We bring in a few players, I can see us, when it comes to a smaller side, at home, we've got Rice and we've got Zubimendi at the base, Rice, Odegaard. When it comes to more of a challenge, even like these mid-table teams, they're pretty hard. I could brighten away. I could see us doing a double pivot. Rice, Zubimendi, you've got Odegaard in the 10, or Nwaneri, whoever it is in the 10. The tactics are able to shift and change and be unpredictable, and that's what I'm excited about this season. Key players to look out for this season, in my opinion. Saka will always remain the star boy, and I'm just keen to see how he bounces back after an injury like that. Odegaard as well. I mean, he's our captain. There was a lot of talk of him, and should the captaincy be dropped from him, and can he bounce back? I've got my eye on him, why for that, but I've got my eye on him. I want to see him bounce back because he used to be one of my favourite players, and I don't know what's happened to him. He looks a bit different. He's losing weight. I don't know if that's a health thing or he's ill, or hopefully it's something that doesn't affect him personally and his game. I mean, Rice, we know there's not really much to say about Rice, but Rice is really starting to come into his own, command the midfield. And to be honest, I don't see many better midfielders in his position in the Premier League at the moment. People talk about Caicedo, which is a great shout. Rodri hasn't come back anywhere near the way he was before that injury. And I mean, we've got Zubimendi as well. And Rodri said he wants to hand the keys over to Spain to Zubimendi as well. So I don't see why this midfield can't, you know what I'm saying, do stuff. Saliba, Gabriel, rock at the back. But if Saliba's down, we got Mosquera, my guy right now, bro. Which Saliba is down at the moment. But, you know, we got Mosquera. If Gabriel goes down, we got Hincapié. We got Timber who can cover at the back. Calafiori can cover at the back. I mean, central back. Centre back. We got MLS, you know, who right now I think Calafiori might be able to keep him out of the team. But, you know, this is the Premier League. After all those great things I've spoken about, we won't win by default. Usually I'll be saying Man City will be the winners. Of course, they're still City. They've got the great players. They've got Haaland, Foden, Pep Guardiola, arguably the best manager that the world has ever seen. I argue that because I'm an Alex Ferguson guy. I grew up, you know, with those eras with Wenger and Ferguson, but I digress. Anyway, they still remain the benchmark. And weirdly enough, they do. But I think that time's over. But they remain the benchmark. They've been the most successful team in the last, 8 years, 7-8 years in England. KDB's obviously gone. Grealish is gone, but they've replaced. We're yet to know if they've replaced adequately yet. But they've replaced, and Pep Guardiola always seems to work it out. Liverpool as well. They won the league last year, spent over 400 million this transfer window. You know, they've brought Isak in, Florian Wirtz. They've brought in Kirkez. On the other side, they've brought in Frimpong. These players are, amazing. 2 or 3 names you've mentioned that I wanted at Arsenal. Wirtz, I wanted at Arsenal. Frimpong, Isak. Their team, they're not looking to just drop the title after 1 year. They're looking to dominate. So they're the benchmark that I think we need to be looking at. But, there are other teams as well in there. Chelsea, and they do this every season, so I don't really get too excited about Chelsea, but they do it every season where they start off really strong, and João Pedro's starting to piss me off. Triple captain in Fantasy League. Spurs, I ain't frightened of them. United we've already played them as well at their ground. I'm not frightened of them. They've got a lot of stuff to work out. But you know what? This year, I'm expecting a real title race. I know we've only got 6 points out of the 9, and Liverpool keep seeming to win. But there's more in the tank, There's more twists and turns in this season. There's more bogey teams that people are going to face. It's just going to be a great season, I think, So it's not over yet. And I think we've got the best squad depth in the league. But with everything like that, you have to test out these players. But we should be winning this league. Who knows? So what do you think? Can we finally win the Premier League in the 25-26 season? And I'm laughing because I'm sure we've heard this every single year. Can we do it? Of course we can do it. Are we going to do it? I believe we are, because the squad's deeper. The tactics should be smarter, Like I said, the varying tactics. We've got the star players, man. We've got new signings that make sense. Some of them will hit the ground running, and we're absolutely built to win this title this season, so there's no excuse. Come on, the Arsenal. Have we got the bottle? That's what I want to know, yeah? That's what I want to know. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel because, like I said, it helps us out, helps us grow. And it's going to be more than just me talking to you on the camera. There's going to be so much more to come from this channel. So the more support I get, the more subscribers, the more likes, the more engagement, the more everything, it'll be better for everybody and everyone could have some great content to enjoy. I've been XP. This is On to Victory. And come on, you Gunners. Rah, rah, rah.